Welcome back, tribe. I have one here from China Unvarnished. Older married women in China. How high are their standards, and can you meet them?
A 35-year-old single woman in China has set such high standards for her future spouse.
My requirements for a partner are simple. They should have a ready-made house with no mortgage, preferably be a native of Shanghai, have experience living.
Just having a house. Already complicated in the economy today. Guys, this isn't going to change. It's all around the world. The issue is corporations taking over the rights of the everyday person. It's the corporatized society that we live in that makes everything impossible. Companies are getting richer and richer. We're all getting poorer and poorer.
Abroad, work as a manager in a company, and most importantly, have good temperament. Someone like Daniel Wu would be ideal.
However, at a matchmaking event with thousands of participants, nobody even glances at her. The stark contrast between her ideals and reality leaves her feeling lost.
Golly.
I'm told I'm the oldest woman here, she says. I don't want to continue anymore.
Wenjie, 35, is a senior executive in a company. Born and raised in Shanghai, she has always had a privileged upbringing, coupled with some good looks, which made her quite popular in her 20s. However,
Story.
Her high standards have prevented her from finding a suitable partner. It's only now that she's starting to feel the true weight of loneliness. So, whenever she has free time, she shuttles between various matchmaking events in Shanghai.
Jesus.
But in her eyes, all the prospective partners are subpar. It's her high and rigid standards that have kept her single for so long. Despite realizing her mistake, she refuses to lower her criteria, even in the face of criticism from matchmakers.
What do you have to offer? What makes you so special? What can you give him? Just because you're a woman? Are there not enough women out there? But Wenjie, 35, can't hear any of these words. Seeing Wenjie's attitude, the matchmaker can only helplessly introduce her to a wealthy and handsome man for a blind date. To Wenjie, this man is undoubtedly the ideal marriage partner, but to him, she's worthless.
To be honest, I don't even want to look at her.
Look, all right. Women, you guys have to understand something. China's less on the PC side of things, so they'll tell you outright. Ladies in the West, if you are over 30, it's all downhill. This whole wall thing, it's not just something we're coining here in the West. We're telling you what male attraction is like. We're telling you the truth. Why would I want to deal with you at 35 as a multi-millionaire businessman, and I may be 40 or 35 also, when I could just get the 20-year-old version of you? I could get the woman that you used to be right now. The pretty one, going to school, getting her head on her shoulders, except that one wants a family and wants to snag a man instead of being like you. You used to be highly popular in school. You used to be highly sought after. And then you waited until you were 35 and you will not renounce these high standards that are keeping you lonely and single. You cannot negotiate attraction the same way you think men that are older are more wise, more experienced, more mature, sexier in general because they have more charisma and they're more financially stable. You naturally find older men more attractive. Is the same way we naturally find a younger woman more attractive than you because she's more fertile, she's more feminine, has a more bubbly attitude, takes direction better, doesn't argue, fight back, cause problems, and isn't a headache. These things, you start to pile them on as you deal with men all through your 20s into your 30s, constantly being let down, picking the wrong man, getting your hopes up, being pumped and dumped. You're developing the 1,000-cock stare. It looks like your soul has left your body. Every man took a piece of you. In order for you to open your legs, you had to have an emotional connection with the man. There had to be something up here. You cannot just simply stick something in a wet hole like a man can with no emotional attachment. It's just a pure physical feeling that's being released. Women need to be buttered up, right? You got to get the bun hot in the oven. You got to make sure she's emotionally and psychologically warmed up and ready to go. And then it makes the act of sex better. It's not the same for men. They just see visually, like, full mast, ready to go, pump, dump, came, left. Women don't get this. We are different. You can't compete in the sexual marketplace in the same manner a man does. And this is why you guys get hurt in the dating pool today. Why so many guys you match is just purely sexual interest. It's not emotional interest. Just because a man's in your DMs, just because a man wants to meet you and have sex with you, doesn't mean he's interested in you anything more than that. As opposed to you're projecting that if you match a guy, you see him as a good prospect for something longer term. He elicited an emotional response and you did the Disney happily ever after thing of trying to lock down this multimillionaire that could change your life, this famous athlete, this singer, musician, whatever it is that you think you deserve and believe you can hold down is a complete lie. It's hard when society lies to you and tells you could have everything you want. When society tells you you're strong, you're independent, you don't need to make any sacrifices, no compromises, and then you end up with no ring, no kids, and in vitro isn't going to help you. Technology's not coming. It's like a 10% chance of success or worse. Your kids have a much higher chance of coming out messed up from God knows what diseases. And nobody tells you this stuff. They just tell you, yes, be a slave at a corporation where the IRS is cucking you, your boss is cucking you, your entire personal life is being cucked, all to earn a salary. And you wonder why so many women are on like pharmaceutical drugs, mentally just barely holding it together.
Upon hearing the wealthy man's evaluation of her, Wenjie breaks down. She cries like a teenager. But reality is cruel. When you demand high standards from others, you must also examine whether you meet those standards. In China, there are many older single women like Wenjie. They generally focus only on the man's financial status and social standing, while lacking a clear understanding of their own shortcomings. Their standards for choosing a partner are often very demanding, even unrealistic. Next, let's take a look at some of the exaggerated demands made by other older single women.
我们大龄剩女找对象要求高吗？
As a 38-year-old single woman, are our standards for choosing a partner really too high? I
Yeah.
don't think so. Even if you don't have money, it's fine. I can support you.
Yeah, you're saying that now because you're 38. If you have no money, it's fine. I'll support you. I just want a partner. I don't want to be alone. I don't want to collect cats and boxed wine. The time for you to have babies has dramatically shrunk. You can't give the man multiple kids. It's probably going to be a battle uphill. Your fertility has gone down dramatically and will continue to, if you're even still fertile at 28 because of all the crap and the chemicals and the pollutants in the air and everything that's affecting our bodies negatively today, just like it's lowering men's testosterone on average. You weren't saying this at 20. You were demanding that a man make money, be handsome, be tall, have a huge meat stick, be charismatic, be Superman, when he's really just the normal Clark Kent. Now, when you're 38 and got nothing to really offer a man, your fertility is gone. Now all of a sudden I'll take care of you.
I only care about your age. I like men born after 1995.
Okay,
I
she likes them young.
do not want men over 30 years
What
old.
in the world?
After all, the health of the child is directly related to the father, right? Another requirement is that I won't consider men who are infertile. Additionally, my standards are even stricter. Men who
What?
can't have healthy children are absolutely not acceptable. As for the bride price,
Healthy children, when you got bifocals on, you can't even see without technology. What? Okay.
I can give you money, say, 200,000 yuan, but our child must take my surname. You should be at least 1.8 meters tall and have abs. We women also
And yeah, bro, get out of here. And for those saying those aren't bifocals, those are for fashion, look at the magnification here. Here's the line of her head. It should be going like this on normal glasses. We're magnifying the shit out of the world, bro. We can't even see. Talking about got macular degeneration, but you got to be 6 foot tall plus with abs, perfect bill of health. What?
value looks and physique. Otherwise, it's embarrassing to go out together, and I would lose face. If you don't have a house, you can live in mine. You just need to take care of the housework and cook for me. I have a sensitive stomach, so you need to take care of my diet.
What?
Moreover, you have to be obedient and gentle, and at home, you must listen to me. Additionally, our relationship can only be led by me. You cannot be unreasonable. I can spend money on you, but you can't trouble me. I'm very tired from working outside every day, and I just want peace when I get home.
Honestly, if you close your eyes and just listen to that, it's just like a man talking. She's so masculine. Like, imagine you're a dude in her position and like you're just naturally describing the things you look for in the women. Men are over here shaking their head like, yeah, if a dude said that, that would make sense. But it's absolutely asinine when a woman says it.
Home. As for work and education,
Wow.
I don't care if you have a job or not. But if you do have a job, it can't be too busy. Being too busy means you won't have time to take care of the house and children.
Okay,
Moreover,
sis.
you need to provide emotional support at home, always accompany me, appreciate me, and admire
Wow.
me.
你今年多大岁数了？
How old are you this year? 30. Are you married? No. Do you have a boyfriend? No. Why aren't you married? I don't see the point. What's the point of having a boyfriend? So he can spend money on you? Yes, but he also has to be willing. How much money per month do you think is appropriate for a boyfriend to give you? I don't know. Is 50,000 yuan enough? That's
I gotta do the math on that one. Damn, and that's $7,000 a month. She want in China of all places, bro, with their salary. She wants $7,000. That's already outrageous here in the United States. $7,000 a month. She want. Look at her, 30 years old, $7,000. Already glued to her phone. She came and do an interview without looking down at her phone. So disrespectful. Guys, no matter where you go overseas, if you go in the major capitals, it doesn't have to be major capitals. Dude, this comes down to the individual. I'm sorry, but hedonism, consumerism, materialism is absolutely destroying the brains of both men and women. It's both sides of the aisle. When you see a dude that's a straight turd in his 3 Series BMW with a chain and his sideways hat, and he's playing his loud music with his shitty tweeters that he bought on the low for cheap because he can't afford good sound systems, wears expensive shoes, has a belt buckle he could hardly afford. It cost him his whole paycheck just because his name brand. It's like the same shit. You see it in women too. We laugh at those guys because we're like, damn, they're asleep at the wheel in life. They're so dumb. They're so busy trying to show off like they got something, but underneath it's completely empty and shallow and superficial. The problem is when men look at women like this, objectively she's pretty and that's all you see, like, oh wow, she's beautiful. But your little man downstairs isn't allowing you to see and ridicule them for what they are, empty shells. It's not a person, it's a bot. We can clearly detect a man that's an empty shell, compensating with material possessions, laugh it off, and make an accurate assessment of character. But when you involve a woman in her beauty, when you see the hair, her skin, makeup, all that stuff done, nails, you assume like, oh, this is high value. This is a worthy woman. But underneath that is absolutely nothing. These women bring nothing to the table. They can't boil water properly. All they know is how to spend money on 1,000 pounds of makeup. They think they're the God's gift to earth, and every single step they take is an honor for you to be in their presence. It's mind-blowing, man. A guy's rational ability to think is completely out the window with a big pair of knockers and a nice smile. And a guy will put up with a high maintenance woman that has absolutely no value back to him in any way whatsoever, simply for looks. At that point, bro, go pay for it. I hear the girls in Thailand are charging $50. If you are really that much of a slave to your innermost desires as a man, if you can't control yourself sexually, you need to practice some sexual transmutation. That was another topic way back in the day. But if you have no self-control, my friend, you are doomed in life. That's the fastest way a man will be unwound from his money is through women. And when you go overseas, do not mistake any of the signs. They appear more feminine. They appear more subtle. They appear more soft in their demeanor. But watch how addicted she is to that cell phone. Watch how much she cares about posting on social media. Watch how she talks about to her parents, her relationship with her family. Watch how she talks about the future. Is the words we included in everything? Is she allowing you to lead? Or does she think that all you're good for is spending money? How much do you make and what can you buy me today? They all tell on themselves. Pay attention to what they say, but especially to what they do. Learn to tell a woman no every once in a while and see the way she behaves. If she becomes a headache, a thorn in your side, just because you told her no, we can't spend money on this, begins to disrespect you, give you the cold shoulder, or tries to emotionally manipulate you in any way whatsoever, cut her ass next. That is not the woman for you. You don't get punished simply because you can't buy her what she wants. You're being treated like a wallet. She's showing you what you are, and you're refusing to believe it because she spreads her clam for you once a month.
Definitely enough. How much bride price is needed to marry you? The normal amount, 200,000 yuan. I think you're very beautiful, so there must be many guys chasing you. Why do you think you're still single? Is it because you're very picky? I don't know. I think it's mainly that I have to like him, and he must have money.
By the way, the payment she's expecting on top of $7,000 a month is 200,000 won, which is essentially $28,000 to $30,000. She wants a lump sum of 30 grand to marry her.
So, he needs to be both rich and someone you like, right? Not necessarily. If he truly likes me, he can have less money. But if he doesn't truly like me, he must have a lot of money. How much money do you think is a lot? I don't know. I think he should have at least 50 million yuan in assets. But besides that, the most important thing is that I feel something for him. If I have no feelings for him at all, I still wouldn't marry him.
我的要求呢，也不是很过分，就是要求农村。
By the way, she's talking 7 mils. She wants you to have a 7 million net worth, 30 years old. Asian brothers, what's happening? This isn't one-child policy. This is something else. And I think we know what the answer is. There's certain forces at work here, multinational entities that exert an insane amount of control or work hand in hand with the government, the people that are supposed to legislate in your favor, clearly are not. They've caused a dystopian form of modern society, this like leech capitalism, I don't know what else you could call it, where it sucks the lifeblood of the average citizen in order to enrich those at the top. Completely broken.
村嘛，
啊，
农村有一套别墅。
Actually, my requirements aren't too excessive, since my family is from the countryside.
Parasitic capitalism, that's what we should call it. Others call it end-stage capitalism, but parasitic, because that's what they are. The government and corporations are parasites to everyday people.
I want the guy to have a villa in the countryside with a swimming pool. He also needs to have an apartment in the city that's at least 140 square meters so
Of
that it will
course.
be convenient for our child to go to school in the future. He should have savings of about 1 million yuan and a car worth around 50 to 60,000 yuan. The
Of
bride
course.
price should be 1 million yuan.
Damn!
That's it. Just these requirements. To be honest, when I told my parents about these conditions, they advised me not to look for a partner. Then why are you still looking? I think if I go on 10 blind
Wow.
dates, at least one should be successful. I just need to go on more dates. As a guy, I have to tell you, there are basically no young men who can meet your conditions. I'm genuinely here to find a match, so I'm telling you the truth. Please don't get angry. Oh, that's a very low.
Are these women not working in China where they could see how much you get in return for your labor to understand the value of a yuan, to understand the value of 8 hours of work a day? Or are there just so many simps in China that they're bailing out women left and right? Like these guys are providing them, like the simps in America will just give a woman $500 and just say, good morning, beautiful, a little pay pig. I really don't get where the delusion comes from. Obviously, a lot of it has to do with social media, but in the real world, like, do you have parents? Do you see how hard your parents are struggling? You see what your family's going through? Your broke ass probably doesn't have a car. You don't have an apartment. You don't have anything to your name. And if you were to try to go out and get it, you'd understand just how difficult it is. What makes you think there's so many men that could just go out and get this shit like it's nothing? Like these standards, she thinks that's a bare minimum to talk to her, bro. Anything above that would be considered ideal. We're just talking to get your foot through the door. You need to pay her dowry of $140,000 plus a $30,000 car, plus I don't know what else she was asking for. And this is in China. We're not talking Western salary.
Low probability. But as a woman, I have to look out for myself. If the guy has that much money, my future life won't be difficult or rushed. I would be so happy I could laugh in my dreams. Miss, may I ask how old you are this year? I'm 28 years old. Oh, for a woman, 28 is considered quite old. No wonder your parents told you to stop looking for a match. Yes, although my parents say that, I definitely need to find a boyfriend. Miss, since your parents know it's hard to find someone who meets your conditions, why don't you lower your standards a bit? No one in the countryside can meet your demands. The villas you mentioned are just like the houses in front of you. Most rural houses are like this, and they are nicely decorated. Also, the savings, bride price, car, and city apartment you require are very rare. I think it would be great if I could find a guy with these conditions. This way, I would.
Yeah, it has to be social media. Their version of social media, women showing off. Again, dude, women compete. I'm convinced. Yeah, I'm convinced. Okay, social media. It's social media that's rotting their brains fully. Yes, society is degenerating, of course, but the access to brain rot material that women have and their addiction to their cell phones is probably one of the major drivers of this mental health delusional crisis that they're undergoing. This chick is a country girl in the middle of nowhere, China, and she's demanding all that crazy shit. Do you see what the houses look like behind her? I don't know what those people are earning in that rural part of China, but it sure as hell won't be able to afford her hundreds of thousands of dollars in assets that she wants with multiple apartments and houses and all this shit in major cities. You're a rural girl and they're demanding that. Where did she get this kind of idea and access to these kinds of men? It has to be social media. That's it. Imagine flipping in your phone when you're in your dingy little house that your dad worked his ass off for, probably in the fields plowing day and night under the hot sun, and you're the spoiled little princess, and you're flipping through with your legs up in a cross on your tummy in the bed, flipping through all these rich men and all these beautiful women on whatever your version of Instagram is in China, and seeing the dream life and how they're wearing hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars worth of clothes, accessories, jewelry, flights, everywhere, the dream life. And you go, I want that too. I deserve that too. I want to be like her. And that inner inner competition in them won't let them go. They will die alone chasing the dream because they think if that girl has it, I have to have it. She's not better than me. It's always been a competition, man. It's just now the competition is global and women are finding out that a lot of them are just average, everyday girl next door. You are not a supermodel. You will never live the supermodel life or the influencer life or the dazzling glam of some Arabian princess and all the shit you're seeing and wishing you were. You're a plain Jane. Expect a plain Jane match.
Wouldn't have to think about earning money or finding a job every day, which is so annoying. The elders in my village used to love introducing boyfriends to me, but they stopped doing so, miss. Let's
No
call it a
shit.
day then. We're just wasting each other's time. I have one last piece of advice for you. Since your parents advised you not to go on blind dates, you really shouldn't. It wastes other people's time and yours too. I'm leaving now. Goodbye.
有什么资格看不上我啊？啊，你条件也不如我，长得也不是很好，你有什么资格看不上？
This one says a man on a blind date with an older single woman wanted to leave because of her high demands, but ended up getting a scolding
那我
from her.
问你，
Why do you think you can reject me? Your conditions aren't better than mine, and you don't look that good either. What gives you the right to look down on me? Answer me. Fine, I admit my conditions aren't as good as yours, and my assets aren't as good either. But I like 18-year-old girls. Don't blame me. My 80-something-year-old grandfather likes 18-year-olds. My 50-something-year-old dad likes 18-year-olds. And me? I'm around 30, so I like 18-year-olds even more. And you? You're already 38. So what? You knew my age before coming to this blind date.
Holy hell.
Since you knew my age and still came, you should respect me, right? If you like 18-year-olds, go find an 18-year-old. Why did you come to me? I didn't think that much before I came. But after meeting you, I really didn't expect your demands to be so high. Let me tell you, it's a time when there are more men than women. You say my demands are high? Your desire for an 18-year-old girl is even higher as a woman. If I want to find an 18-year-old boy, even if he doesn't marry me, he would at least get to know me. So what if you get to know an 18-year-old boy? Let's see if you can actually become his girlfriend. I know you're 38, and I came here sincerely for this blind date, not to talk about dreams. But the moment you sat down, you started talking about dreams, having a house and a car, both fully paid for, and having at least several million in savings. Do you think your demands are realistic? Why wouldn't my demands be realistic? They are very normal for a man. Forget it. I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Wow.
I'm leaving. Goodbye.
的择偶要求真的很高。
Are my marriage criteria really too high? I have a master's degree and I'm willing to find someone with a bachelor's degree. I own 2 houses and I'm open to someone from any city in Zhejiang, rural or urban, as long as they can afford a down payment. I request a dowry of 50,000 renminbi, and I'll match it with another 50,000 renminbi, making a total of 100,000 renminbi as a future childbearing fund.
Okay, at least she's matching it, so she's okay. Cool. If you're gonna demand, that's basically being like, let's invest in our future together. You put down 50,000, whatever, I'll put down 50,000, that's for our child's fund. Okay, that's cool actually. If more women started doing that, that'd be kind of cool. I'm all for that. We're thinking about the kids.
The
okay?
only aspect where I'm a bit demanding is in the height of the prospective
course.
partner. Perhaps because
And there goes your 50,000. 5'6" inch shorter. Fuck that 50,000. Now it's 100. Dude, there's always a cat.
I'm not tall myself. At 158 centimeters, I hope the man is at least 175 centimeters tall,
Golly.
so our future children may have an advantage in height. Overall, I believe these 4 conditions are reasonable. I've already compromised a lot, but some keep urging me to lower my standards. However, how could I accept a man with only a primary school education, standing at 160 centimeters tall, and earning only 3,500 yuan per month? That's just not realistic. This year, as a 34-year-old unmarried woman, I decided to embark on the journey of blind
By the way, she's 160 centimeters, excuse me, is 5'3". Oh my God. This girl's like, she said she was 150, right? Somewhere around 150 centimeters, 154, something like that. She's barely 5 feet tall, but she wants a man at 175. That's 5'7" and a half. 6'6" kings. The 50 thou, whatever currency she's talking about, you don't make the cut on height. That's a 5 foot tall woman telling you that.
Dates. This is my first blind date of the year, and the gentleman is also single. He is 2 years younger than me and from Shenyang. Introduced by a friend, I heard he works in a state-owned enterprise, possibly as a laborer. This morning, I rushed out without having breakfast, so I had to buy a bag of milk from the store. After drinking it, I realized the seat I was in had no backrest, so I moved to another spot to wait for him. When I saw him, I noticed he was quite thin. During our conversation, I learned that he currently lives with his parents, and he intends to continue living with them after marriage. I feel like we may have some differences in perspective because I don't want to live with my parents after getting married. I prefer to have our own space as a couple. However, I can sense that he is a reliable and hardworking person, and he seems to have a liking for me, deliberately trying to make me happy by cracking jokes. We talked about what sounds different animals make. He asked me about the meow sound of cats, and I asked him if chickens cluck. He said chickens do cluck, and the chance is reserved for the prepared one. Haha, he really made me laugh. We just got to know each other a bit. As it was nearing lunchtime, he suggested treating me to something delicious, so he took me to KFC. He said today is Crazy Thursday, so I asked him what that meant. Turns out, KFC has promotional offers on Thursdays. I didn't expect him to take me to KFC on our first meeting, and although I was a little disappointed, it's not a big deal. After getting to know each other today, I feel that we have some differences in perspective. However, at this age, it's not easy to meet someone willing to get to know each other, so I plan to continue exploring this potential relationship.
Boys, some financial advice. I know it's hard, you're horn toads. If all you could afford is to take your woman to fast food places like KFC or the chick you're dating or something basic like Applebee's or whatever, like starter chain restaurants, avoid dating. You're going to waste your time. You're playing with handicap. You're going to have to try extremely hard just to impress a girl that won't open her legs for you, doesn't even really like you. That time could have been spent in the gym, could have been spent on the internet learning how-to stuff, could have been investing in your business, learning a side hustle, teaching yourself valuable skills to escape the trap. The investment is not worth the cost if you're in that position in life. I hate to say it, but it only pans out for you if you've been blessed with genetics and extremely handsome at that age, and women will look a different way, and they won't take you seriously still for long-term relationships, but they'll look a different way when it comes to one-night stands and things of that nature. Other than that, even the Chads don't got much going for them if they're broke. It just takes a guy that's slightly good-looking plus has a job to replace them at the end of the day. You got to be able to protect and provide. You have neither of those things. And on top of that, you're young, and we know women prefer older men for the exact reasons I was mentioning.
Do you know what kind of men women over 30 in China eventually marry? Firstly, these women will not marry men with poor conditions. In their words, I have waited until this age, what would I see in him? No money, no looks, nothing. It's better to be single. So what about men who are older, have a house, a car, a career, and a high income? Such men are worth marrying, but they usually won't marry women over 30. Generally speaking, if a man with good conditions is still unmarried in his 30s, there are usually two situations. First, they don't want to get married. Second, they only want to marry a young and beautiful woman. These men with good conditions have rich emotional experiences, and they know the value of women, so they won't choose older women. Older men can't marry, so women over 30 can only look for younger men. To be honest, I've only seen older woman-younger man relationships in TV dramas.
Sheesh.
In daily life, it's unrealistic for a woman in her 30s to marry a man in his 20s. Some young men in their 20s might be sweet talkers, but they can be very cruel. Dating them is fine because they won't lose anything. But if a woman wants to marry them and make them responsible, that's another story. They can run faster than a rabbit, and some of them might even spend your money before running away. So, women in their 30s mostly end up marrying older men, some marry divorced men or men with children, and some stay single. In the future, the phenomenon of older single women in China will only become more severe. The more developed the city, the more single women there are.
Yeah.
Actually, many older women haven't found suitable partners mainly because they are too restless inside. They always want the best but often overlook their own shortcomings. As the saying goes, nobody is perfect. It's not easy to find someone who can connect and be loyal in the vast sea of people. If you use various conditions to screen partners, it's like looking for a needle in a haystack. While it's right to prefer quality over quantity, it's wise to know when to stop. Everyone hopes to find the ideal partner, and that's understandable. But the reality is, everyone has their strengths and weaknesses, and perfect people don't exist. Instead of getting caught up in perfect standards, it's better to look at the positives in others and see if you can live happily together. After all, the essence of a relationship is mutual tolerance and understanding, not measuring each other with criteria. If you always have a picky attitude and set high standards, you might miss those who are actually suitable. Life is short, and happiness.
Oh, you're speaking to the choir. These women ain't trying to hear it. She hears, like, the standards are just out of this world. Beauty fades, but dumb is forever. I never knew the delusion was global. As an Indian guy, I can see when the condition for marriage isn't love. The business is in the streets. Those same women later, I'm 50, here's my cap. They directly express their wish to remain single. We must respect their wish. And this guy says, her high standards are a self-defense mechanism. She isn't being rejected by all men because she's not attractive. She is rejecting all men because they're not worthy of her. She tells herself she's single because it's her choice and not that she's single because no one finds her attractive. Oof. Don't play hard to get when you're hard to want. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. If you haven't already, subscribe to the second channel. It's got videos up above being released all the time. Private community calls so you guys get a look into what we're talking to, as well as videos walking around Bucharest talking about life overseas if you haven't, as well as thank you again to those that keep buying shirts from the store. Links are all in the description below. Oh, and we opened up a new Discord, by the way, trying to keep it clean with self-improvement and offer people kind of a free alternative to dip their toe into having a community of men that'll help them along their journey. So we've restarted a Discord. It's completely community run, by the way, and links to that are somewhere in the description for this video. And for those in the community, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care, everybody.